Hey folks, welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. My name is Eric Wilkinson and this is Spotting the Trade. What I like to do in these videos, folks, is talk about the economic data, see how that's impacting the overall markets, and then round it off with talking about opportunities I find to implement into my portfolio to trade. All right, so without further ado, before you go, make sure you smash that like button. What it does is it feeds these little bots that runs out there and finds somebody like you just to share this information with. Comment over at the side. I'm going to be looking over there, making sure everybody's clear of concepts. So if you throw something over there in the window for the comment section, I will keep an eye and try and make sure I'm covering that for you. And finally, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell right next to it because we do announce these videos at a certain time. That's just to get through to YouTube and Facebook. Well, sometimes I'm going to pop in here unannounced when I talk about these opportunities I find in the market. So without further ado, let's get on with the economic data because we've got a lot to go over here. We here in the United States got our preliminary GDP, gross domestic product. That comes in just a tick shy of expectations, coming in at 2.1%, expected to be 2.2%. So seeing a little of that pull out. Durable goods orders. This is anything that's going to last longer than 3 years. Keep in mind, it is going to add in transportation items like airplanes and automobiles. One of the things we saw really pull back here is the automobiles because, folks, if you go to a dealership right now, there are no cars in the lots for the most part. What we're seeing is literally them just trying to park these cars to make it look like they're full. It reminds me of the retailer back in the day when I worked for KB Toys. Around Christmas time when our inventory got really low, we would just do one box facing on every shelf and there would be nothing behind it just to make it look like it was full. This is similar to what we're seeing with the automobile dealers is they're trying to make their lots look full despite the fact that they are pretty much empty. So really glaring here with the durable goods orders. Also keep in mind, folks, that airplanes are not moving very much in this pandemic as well. Boeing, a major driver of that durable goods orders. When you strip out those, though, it came in line with expectations at 0.5%. So everything outside of automobiles or transportation items is actually doing really well because when we see that added back in, that number goes really negative. So everything else outside of transportation doing very well. Unemployment claims, first time we've seen this go below 200,000 since basically the pandemic, coming in at 199, expected to be 250. So really good economic data so far, and trade deficit better than expected. We're continuing to see this be less negative, and we're coming in at negative 82 billion. So that is pretty good. One of the better numbers we've seen in quite some time. So continuing to see us export more is what that's showing there. And then preliminary GDP here in the United States, price index upticking just a little bit. Not any surprise here as everybody across the board is seeing higher prices, no matter if it is imported from China or even domestic stuff, really starting to get that pop in pricing. So seeing that show up here in preliminary GDP prices. Wholesale inventories, that ratcheted up a little bit here to 2.2%, expected to be 1%. Not a major surprise here heading into a holiday season. We do generally see them start to build inventories, right? So after this weekend, or after this extended holiday or Thanksgiving, Black Friday coming around the corner, we're going to be keeping our eyes on those numbers to see if they are able to move those inventories there going forward. Now, let's get on with the markets here. We've got crude oil, just a little bit of a dip. We tested that 50-day simple moving average yesterday and again overnight. It's failing there. Keep in mind, we did release some oil reserves. We're not increasing production. We might not even see the Middle East increase production now that we've released these oil reserves. So that is a bit of a lever and pulley. We're going to be keeping an eye on this. Oil reserve release is really a drop in the bucket, folks. It's just a headline number to get folks thinking that there is more supply there. But the fact of the matter is, it is a lack of supply driving these prices higher. All right, the bonds here, we've been seeing interest rates start to ratchet up a little bit. Well, I think we're going to see us taper this sell-off here in the treasuries here. I think we're going to stay in these 160s, maybe 59s, testing that a little bit. But for the most part, the sweet spot is right in and around this 160 handle for the bonds. Folks are talking about higher interest rates with the inflation. Well, we didn't see that inflation drive really that high. So I think that we're going to see some of this inflationary pressures start to ebb a little bit. We're already seeing some of these higher prices due to shipping costs coming from China start to come off a little bit. That will lower the overall price of what these products are coming off of the shipping containers. So that is one of the highest drivers of these prices. That's why folks are saying that it is transitory, is once these shipping prices come off, that is what's really driving price higher across the board in most of these products that we're getting shipped in here. Another thing to note is folks are asking, why aren't we just unloading these ships? Well, one of the problems with being a driver that is going to be a shipment driver in the domestic area, you're driving a truck most likely. Well, the way that these folks are paid for driving is usually by the mile. So you can imagine that they don't want to go out to the ports and sit there for 6 hours waiting to get their load. They aren't being paid for that time, so they aren't really wanting to go out there. So that's also adding to this slowing of the shipping process. There's still 60 shipping containers out there in the Pacific Ocean waiting to offload in China. So keep offload from China before they can ever go back. All right. So a lot of those that's what we're seeing here, folks, is why we aren't getting these shipping containers offloaded and moving into the economy here. That's why we're still seeing these delays. All right. Enough about that. Bitcoin coming off a little bit. I do expect Bitcoin to hold on to some of this value, despite the fact that we are seeing a little bit of pricing pressure coming off a little bit. While we're seeing that pricing pressure come off, that will help. But that is making inflationary pressures come off a little bit. That will not support gold, because gold is going to drive higher with inflation. And now that we're seeing that inflation maybe not be as strong as it was before, we're going to see some of that gold come off a little bit. NASDAQ is seeing some weakness today. Retailers releasing today. Nordstrom talking about Nordstrom Rack not doing very well. Nordstrom's not doing very well. Best Buy coming out missing on earnings. A lot of these retailers struggling right now. We were all expecting that coming out of this pandemic, folks were going to want to get out and go to the brick and mortar. At least I was. We're not really seeing that as a strong driver right now. Folks aren't even going to the movies, to be honest. So they're getting out, but I think they're getting out into open spaces for the most part. Dow Jones Industrial Average, while it was the strength yesterday, we're seeing that weakness pop in here today as a lot of these equity indexes are showing some weakness. I would expect this to support just a little bit, as I think that volumes, when they start coming out of this market, there's going to be some speculation coming into this market, some risk on trade that could support it here. I don't think we're going to see a massive sell-off ahead of this holiday weekend, or going into Black Friday, I really should say. Finding a little bit of support here in the ahead of the open here, as we're going to be opening here in just a couple of minutes. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. Visa, looks like we're finding that little bit of a bottom. Something I was getting a little nervous about here is I'm short some puts in here with that high volatility. I'm short the Visa puts on the December 185. So we've come down a little bit. I was expecting us to find a little bit of support. Took a little bit longer, but we are seeing this support here today. As a matter of fact, let's just take a look at this. I was going to save this for XLU because we're getting a bit of a spinning top here. I love this new chart setup where this platform will give you all of the information here. Spinning top candle. You guys heard of me talking about that. That is a bearish sign. I'll talk about XLU in a moment, but I might as well talk about this right now. With this spinning top doji here in XLU, guys, keep in mind, I am long the XLU at 69. You can see that we are slightly below that area right now, but I'm still playing this to the upside. I don't know why that should be there for the spinning top doji on that part of the chart. That's what I'm looking for. This could be signaling a little bit of a slowdown in momentum. I'm going to have to wait for confirmation today, which would be a nice big red candle right there. The other thing I wanted to look at was Visa, I think it was. Visa, let's pull this up, see if I can get this data popping in here. Visa. And remember, I was playing this with the Visa short 185 puts. I don't know why I said XLU. I'm long XLU at 69, but short 185 puts in Visa here. As you can see, my chart always pops off. I don't know why it doesn't like my Walcom here. But you can see we're getting a bottoming pattern here in Visa on this downward move here. So that is signaling that we are finding a little bit of a bottom, no confirmation as of right now, but I'm going to be keeping my eye on that. That is a nice bottoming pattern. Green candle today would be that confirmation we're looking for, but I'm in a little bit early on this, selling those 185 puts in there. Yeah, TLT, I traded out of this trade yesterday. I just was making sure that you guys are all clear a concept that I was out of this trade for TLT. I bought those December 152 calls back for 32 cents. Originally sold those where did I originally sell those prices? TLT originally sold those for 125. So out of Visa, trying to stay in Visa, still short those 185 puts. Now we're finding a little bit of bottom. If I get a correction here and continuation to the downside, I will pull the ripcord on these 185 puts in Visa. But I do believe we're finding that bottom there. All right, that's about it. XLU, this is the other one that I was talking about with the spinning top doji that we could have seen in that other chart that we have there. Let's just pull this up. XLU. Sorry, it's changing my thing there. Let's pull this over. There we go. XLU, let it load up here. Spinning top doji, indicative of a top. No confirmation as of right now, but that's what we're looking for in this trade. All right, that's all I got for you folks. A minute before the open, so a little bit early for you, but hopefully this rounds you off, gets you ready for the day to start trading. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything else, throw it over there in the comment section. I'll be happy to cover that for you. Smash that like button before you go. And if you want to make sure that you are participating in all of these videos, hit the subscribe and the little bell right next to it, because that will give you the indication. Hope everybody has a great turkey day. And if you can't take that, take it easy. Don't forget to smash that like button for me, folks.